Hello friends, this is Carrie and welcome back to I Like Reddit channel. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. Friends, today we have 4 stories, 3 stories out of the Entitled Parents subreddit, plus 1 story out of the Entitled People subreddit. Let's begin. Our first story is by Mahoma93. EM grabs my stroller to tell her kid that I don't feed my baby correctly and tries to steal him. This story is crazy and happened about 2 years ago. A little bit of backstory. I had a high-risk pregnancy and my son was born premature and had to stay for several weeks at the NICU. When I was finally able to leave the hospital with my son, he was still small and underweight, about 4 pounds, but healthy. So the first time I went on a walk with him, the EM and her awesome daughter, about 6, crossed our way. I stopped to rearrange the awning of the stroller and resumed the walk. The EM and her daughter were about to overtake us. She looked into the stroller and walked beside me for a few meters. I really felt uncomfortable and walked a bit faster. She then grabbed the stroller, so I had to stop. I was in shock and couldn't say a word. EM: Look, daughter, the baby is so small because the mother is not willing to breastfeed the tiny one. Me: Pardon? Would you please stop touching my stroller? EM: Well, would you please feed your baby correctly? Your baby is way too small and underweight. I'm gonna call the cops. I begin to panic, thanks to PTSD from the NICU. I took her hand away from the stroller and I was about to leave, grabbed the stroller again, and tried to leave with my baby. So I just took my boy out of the stroller to leave. Yes, without the stroller. The EM suddenly starts screaming, "Help! This woman is stealing my baby! Help! Someone help me!" People started to crowd around and she screamed these things again, calling me names, etc. One man asked what happened and she answered that I stole her baby out of the stroller. Well, she still had her hand on the stroller, so it seemed quite legit for people around us. I was still in shock and was unable to say anything, but that was not necessary because her little kiddo just asked, "Mommy, why do you say this baby is yours? I'm your only baby. Can we please go to Nana's? I'm hungry." Everyone looked surprised and I just burst into laughter and tears. The man that had previously asked what had happened asked her again and thanked her, mumbled something like I was abusing my son because I won't breastfeed him. He's too small, etc. I stopped laughing and got my confidence back and said, or screamed, he was born premature and yes, he's small and underweight, but he is healthy. I'm not abusing my son, and even though it's none of your business, I am breastfeeding him, and how dare you touch a stranger's stroller? The man took the stroller away from her and gave it back to me and asked me if I was okay and if I wanted him to call the cops. I declined, thanked him, and the EM's daughter. The EM didn't say anything to her daughter and just left. Needless to say that I stayed home with my boy for the rest of the week. People are crazy. Our next story is posted by Made Boxer. Entitled parent ignores her kid at a print shop, kid loses a finger. Cast: EP, entitled parent. CC, counter clerk. SM, staff member. I work for a research facility that funds clinics handling patients for our area of expertise. To celebrate our first completely funded sites, we decided to create a t-shirt to commemorate our success. I was tasked with the design of the t-shirt and have them printed and produced for our next conference. I secure a local printer to produce the shirts, and when they were completed, I went to pick them up from the printer. When I got there and produced my invoice, they needed to prepare and wrap them, which would take a few minutes so I could wait in the lobby. While waiting, a woman, entitled parent, and her son, around 5, came in for their order for a family reunion. She barely paid attention to the staff when they told her to wait. She got on her phone and pretty much ignored her son, who was running around the lobby, screaming at the top of his lungs. He then decided to run behind the counter towards the back where the printing machines were. The counter clerk tried to get the woman's attention, but she was just ignoring the clerk and continued talking on her phone. The counter clerk did successfully get the kid to go back into the lobby, but she was called to the back to pick up my package. The kid took this as his chance to shoot behind the counter and went running into the back. I thought one of the staff would catch him, but they were swamped with orders and just didn't see him run past. By the time someone spotted him, it was too late. There was a loud, high-pitched scream and crying, and there was a loud commotion, and it appeared that everyone was screaming. Everyone except the EP, who was still on her phone, oblivious to the chaos coming from the back. That's when another staff member came out carrying the crying kid and holding a bloody towel around his hand, screaming to the receptionist to call 911. Only then did the EP turn around to see her son, then scream at the staff member, "What did you do to my son?" The staff member stated that somehow the kid got into the back and ran up to one of the working machines and stuck his hand in between the hot blades, and it sliced one of his fingers. The EP started screaming at the staff member and the counter clerk, berating them and threatening to sue them, all while ignoring her son, who was still in the staff member's arms while trying to stop the bleeding. That's when I, a nurse, stepped in and assessed the situation and got something to slow down the bleeding, trying to save the mostly severed finger. As the ambulance pulled up, the entitled parent was still on her freaking phone, telling whomever she was talking to what happened to her son, and she still hadn't checked or even touched her son. The staff member transferred the boy to the EMTs, who put him in the ambulance and took him to the hospital. The a-hole of an entitled parent actually waited and demanded the package before she even attempted to follow the ambulance to the hospital. A month later, when I went back to the printers for another order of teas, I had to ask if they ever heard what happened to the little boy. He did lose his finger, and the entitled mom was charged with neglect due to the testimony of the staff of the shop. Didn't find out much more than that, but I do hope that the EP did not regain custody of her poor child. I just wanted to thank everyone who gave me an award and all the upgrades. I would also like to add that this happened in the late 1980s. I told my daughter that I posted this here, and she reminded me that she was with me at the printers when this had happened. She was mortified by the entitled parent's behavior. I'm now 73 years old, and it is still just so visual in my mind. As for why they didn't use my testimony, was that they had video evidence and that the staff was not even aware that the kid was in the shop, let alone was running around. The counter clerk didn't tell anyone in the back, as he didn't think that the entitled parent would let her kid go past the counter from the lobby. It showed that she was not paying attention to her son, and that he had gone back there, and it happened so fast that no one had time to react. If you're enjoying the content so far, please put a heart emoji in the comment section down below. Our next story is by Tatterhood78. You're my son's girlfriend's sister, so you must do as I say. My sister is married to a man with a stay-at-home mom who has decided that adulthood through middle age is still too early to stop over-parenting her children, and is also very opinionated about what everyone else should be doing, especially when it comes to parenting, because she's such a wonderful parent, apparently. To keep the peace, people in my family just let her get away with it. I do not. This greatly upsets her. Back when our children were in elementary school, and before my sis and hubby got formally married, we all lived in the same neighborhood. I'd go to my sister's house for a visit, and afterward we'd both walk over to the school to pick them up at the end of the day. My mother-in-law insisted on coming too. My sister didn't think that this was a hill to die on, so I kept my mouth shut. One day, her overly critical highness decided that she did not like my child's coat and that we need to fix that, meaning that I would have to spend my money to buy another coat that met her approval. I love that coat. Also, I didn't care about her preference, so I told her that there was no need to talk about it. She kept it up constantly for almost a week, because comments like, "I don't care if you like it or not, I'm not your kid, and even if I were, I'd still tell you to back off," were too vague for her to get the hint that I wasn't going to be pushed around. I tried ignoring her, tried changing the subject, but she was just so fixated. So I finally turned around and told her flat out I didn't care about what she liked, and it was none of her business, and we're not even related. She got fed up with my stubbornness and advanced on me, poking hard into my chest over and over. "I don't care if you're related to me or not. You're my son's girlfriend's sister, and you will do as I tell you." I warned her not to make physical contact again, and she started screaming and sobbing, telling everyone in a 2-mile radius that she was being harassed and threatened just because she was trying to be helpful. I laughed and walked on while she was being comforted. An hour later, I had over 20 calls/texts from people telling me to apologize to her to keep the peace, suggesting strongly that I should go out and buy another coat immediately so that she wouldn't be upset anymore. Even one threatening to catch me outside. My sister has been with her husband for over 25 years, so I have a ton of these stories about this woman. Like the one about the time my nephew and nieces couldn't come to my daughter's birthday party because I refused to invite her, my sister's boyfriend's mother's nephew's son. Or the time that my baby shower was canceled because I preferred to have friends as guests instead of my sister's boyfriend's mother's plus mother-in-law and sister-in-law, almost all of whom I've never met. Or the time there was a Royal Rumble elimination-style verbal cage match, 1 against 12, because I decided to use my tax refund for dental care instead of a TV. Or the family blow up because I refused to give her half of the bottles of shampoo that I bought at half price. Our final story is by Throwaway7210. Entitled customer ignores the sauna rules, claims a lifeguard assaulted him, called the cops, tried to do a hit piece of journalism, yelled at me for not handing over personal information of a lifeguard. The title should tell you that this person is a complete nutjob. Throwaway account as well. Background, I work at a swimming pool part-time on the weekends on top of a full-time job. I enjoy the change of work environment and the benefits that come with it. The pool has a sauna, steam room, and spa as well. The sauna is where this all started. This older gentleman, probably in his late 50s, early 60s, had started rocking up and using the sauna. Typically there's no problem with this, but he likes to lie down and have a nap in the sauna, then crack it on the staff members who check on him to make sure he's okay. He's been told multiple times that he is not to lie down and have a nap, or ignores lifeguards when they ask him to give a sign that he's okay. One day, there was a rotation on the pool deck. No problems. The lifeguard was a bit more diligent in his job and saw that the head count for the sauna hadn't been updated for the past 45 minutes. He sticks his head into the sauna and a lady in there says that a guy has been lying down and hasn't moved for about 30 minutes since she arrived. The lifeguard immediately asked if the guy was okay. No response. Asked again. No response. Asked again, but louder, and is basically yelling for the person lying down to respond. No response. The lifeguard then started the DR ABCs and went for a response that involved tapping the person on the collarbone yelling, "Are you okay?" after radioing that we have a possible major. Well, this old man was not happy in the slightest that the lifeguard had 1. Woke him up from his nap, 2. Had viciously assaulted him. He went off his rocker and had a massive argument with the manager about what the lifeguard did and demanded that the lifeguard be fired for assaulting him in the sauna. The manager told him that it wasn't going to happen, so the old man stormed off to the changing rooms. He came out about 15 minutes later, dressed, and told the staff not to talk to him. After 20 minutes of waiting in the foyer, the cops show up because they had a report that a person was assaulted in the They didn't even get to finish their sentence because he interrupted yelling that he was the one who was assaulted and it was that lifeguard out there who did it. And I demand that you arrest him for assault because management here won't do anything about it. One of the officers stayed and spoke to the manager and the man who went from yelling to sobbing about how he was viciously assaulted in the sauna, while the other officer went and spoke to the lifeguard who explained what he did. The cops left the facility and told the old man that they weren't arresting him or taking details because he was doing his job. The man promptly threw a massive tantrum as the cops left and ended up throwing a bin before storming out in tears. About 4 weeks later, a journalist from a local newspaper calls the facility because they have a story about this place and they wanted to get a comment about it. Journalist said that an older man was assaulted in the sauna by a lifeguard and that the facility had done nothing about it, and the man was left bedridden for a week, ended up in the hospital because he had breathing difficulties and he was covered in bruises and there was a possible hairline fracture on his collarbone from the assault, and he is really upset about it all. Management told the journalist what actually happened, and we sent her an incident report form about the incident, along with a few others showing that the man had been told before not to sleep in the sauna and not to abuse the staff who had checked on him, and if they put out their defamatory story, then the lawyers would be involved. Thankfully, the story was killed. Now, on to me. I was working over the weekend and the man came in with some papers that he had showed me he had got from a lawyer. He then told me that he was suing the lifeguard who assaulted him in the facility for damages, and I had to hand over to him his full name, he only had the first name, address, phone number, date of birth of the lifeguard. I told him I was unable to do that, and any legal action undertaken against a member of the staff has to go through the council's legal team. This is a rough transcript of what he told me. Old man, are you finished? Me, yes. Old man, good. Now do your job and give me what I had asked for from you. Me. I'm not able to give you information. If you want that. Old man. Are you incapable of doing your job? Me. No, sir, I am not. Old man. Then do your job and give me the details of the man who assaulted me. Me. Sir, I'm not allowed to give out any personal information of Old man. This is for legal purposes, and you are required to hand over the information of the lifeguard to me. Me. Sir, don't yell, and I am bound by contract not to give out any personal details of staff here. Any legal action that goes through the council's legal team. Old man. I'm not suing the council. I'm suing the lifeguard who assaulted me. If you do not hand over the information, then I'll have you charged and thrown in prison for obstructing the course of justice. Me. Go through the council legal. Old man. No, no. Stomping. Give me your name right now. Me. No. Old man. You are bound by law, and I might add, to hand over the details of the man because it is for legal purposes. Me. Go through the legal team. Old man. For the third time, I'm not suing the council. I'm suing the lifeguard. Now give me his details. By this time, the management had heard the yelling and had come down. Amazingly enough, a member of the council's legal team was there who tried to have a talk with the man, but he refused because I'm not suing the council, I'm suing the lifeguard. The man left yelling at customers about how the facility is defending a man who assaulted him in a sauna and left him hospitalized. As he left, he yelled that he'll be going to social media and have this place shut down. He had recorded the entire incident on hidden camera. To date, it's been 3 weeks since the incident. Nothing has appeared on social media. In short, entitled customer ignores sauna rules, claims lifeguard assaulted him when he was just doing his job, calls the cops, tried to do a hit piece of journalism, and then yelled at me for not handing over personal information of the lifeguard. That's all the stories I have for today. Links to the original Reddit posts will be in the description box below. Please stop on by Reddit to show the OP some love and an upvote. If you enjoy my videos, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to let you know when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.